Hello writing pals. So today is going to be a little bit of a different video. It's just going to be a sit down and chill with me while I eat. In all actuality, this is just so that I feel like I have company while I'm eating because I'm a little lonely. So today I figured I just made some cup noodles. I love the Shin ramyun, the Shin cup noodles. Even though you're supposed to like just pour boiling water into this thing, I make these on the stove still. I boil them for a minute in half a cup of beef broth and half a cup of water with some red chili flakes. It's so amazing. And I'm wearing a shirt that's already like stained because this stuff stains. So I figured we could just chat while I eat, talk about what I've been up to. I didn't upload a video this past week because I was sick. And I just didn't really have any energy to film, or I had the desire to film and I had the heart to film and I really just wanted to film, but I decided just to kind of rest. I tweeted the other day, one of the reasons that I couldn't film was I had subluxed my jaw, which that is a partial dislocation, so the joint hasn't completely dislocated and gone out of socket, but it's just barely hanging in there, or you know, it's causing lots of pain. So I couldn't eat, I couldn't drink, I couldn't talk that night, and it was the one day I actually had energy to film, so that was kind of a bummer. I love these. How do people film these I'm eating while talking videos? Because all I can see is my mom telling me that it's rude to talk with your mouth full. Xanna, don't chew before you swallow. Yeah, chew and swallow and then talk. You know, chew, swallow, talk. Like, but now I'm just supposed to slurp noodles and talk at the same time. I make my own rules here. This is my home. I can do what I want. But yeah, so that was what the past week was like. I didn't end up getting a lot of writing done, which, you know, as per my last video, I had to just be okay with, because I couldn't. I got my calendar back here. It's a pushing calendar I got for Christmas from my brother. I keep my daily word counts on it now. I got about 5.5, about 6,000 words written, which my goal was to write about 10K per week. So like, that's not horrible. Like, that's still a lot of really good words. And I had a lot of really good fellowship at writers group. And I did get a lot of work and plotting done, and I'll tell you one thing. I thought up a new book series idea for like a collection of short story mysteries. I don't for sure know what the mysteries are, but the premise is purposeful suspense. Ha 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 ha. The premise is these two cats who live in a cottage in the woods along with their owner. Their owner probably like wouldn't really be seen. They'd, you know, kind of like in Tom and Jerry, like the mistress isn't seen. But these two cats, they live in this magical cottage in the woods and they solve mysteries. So they are sleuthing cats in the woods, and I just want it to be this cozy cottagey kind of vibe with like some mystery and suspense and maybe a few spoopy things. So they're not spooky, they're spoopy. There's a difference. I'm just really excited about this idea. I'm not sure what age range or like genre category I really want to go for yet. I thought about doing early chapter books, but after reading a few Magic Treehouse books again, I decided that's probably not for me. I'm a very prosy writer. I love prose. I love writing beautiful flowery things. I keep it under control, but it's something I like to add in. It's a little flair I like to add, and you can't necessarily do that with early chapter books, at least with the handful that I've read. So I've actually got them right here. I've also got the I, Freddy books. I've got Bunnicula, and I've got Holiday Inn. It's also by the author of Bunnicula. Wow, that's some very... The cover art's interesting, and like the title font's good, but like, let me show you. Oh, there's some text right here that's like illegible. That's weird to me. You can actually see the shirt got detergent stained. It's supposed to clean my clothes, not stain it. Or detergent bleached, I think that's the term. Yeah, so that's kind of what I've been thinking about, is what kind of category I'd maybe want to write this story in, and I spent all day yesterday when I wasn't teaching just doing some research and thinking. I spent a lot of time on YouTube watching videos of like middle grade writers and early chapter book writers. And I just don't know. I've always had the heart to publish children's books. It's always been part of my plan, actually, to publish fantasy, specifically kind of like dark fantasy, and children's books. Great combo, I know. But it's something I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to write children's books. So I was like, oh, do I write these as children's books? Or, oh, like, are these going to be good children's books? Like, I can do that, but maybe I wouldn't be able to be as flowery as I like, or things like that, which I'm sure I could always get around. There's always the exception to the rule. But most of the time you have to tell yourself you aren't the exception to the rule. And so, now I'm thinking about middle grade. Oh, do I write in middle grade? Like, you know, I feel like middle grade's the start of being able to kind of do things like that. You know, the first Harry Potter books were middle grade, and those were very magical. Things like that. Those are like the only middle grade books I can actually think of. Well, there's some other, Caroline, I think, is middle grade by Neil Gaiman. I haven't read that. I haven't even seen the movie, actually. And so I'm like, okay, and I finally came to the conclusion of, well, maybe I should just write them and see what category they end up falling in. You know, I feel like that'd be the best idea, but usually you pick a category so that you know exactly kind of the things that you can write, but at the same time I feel like maybe it would be a good idea to just write them and then see where they fall. You feel me? Because if I write them, and let's say I write them really gritty, and I love how gritty they are, like, oh, those couldn't stay as early chapter, so then they'd probably have to bump up to middle grade or even YA. But then you run the risk of like, do middle grade or YA readers want to read about two magical cats who are sleuthing around in the woods? I also don't necessarily want to write full-length novel. And I thought like little short stories would be really fun. So like a little short story collection, but you know, like those would easily be able to just be pieced together as a novel, I feel. I don't know. What do you guys think? Because I could also... I just had a thought. Oh, because I have my main book that I'm working on right now, Down the Fox Path. You guys know about that. I like having a little side passion project, quote unquote, that I work on while I was working on the binding. Down the Fox Path was my passion project. And now the binding has been shelved for a little bit, so Down the Fox Path has been my main project, so it's kind of left passion project territory. So now I'm kind of looking for someone to fill that space. I miss it. I miss having a good passion project on the side. These actually aren't that spicy. Like, I love eating spicy noodles. I just actually need to take a drink. I'm not a wimp, don't worry. Oh my goodness, I love Gatorade. It's so good for you too. If you have blood pressure issues like I do, Gatorade is a godsend. I mean, there are other things out there too, but Gatorade is really good for you if you have so many conditions I have. But yeah, I don't know. I want another passion project to work on while I'm working on my main book, which I've semi-entered another hate cycle in because I'm just kind of like, I want this to be done. I'm kind of sick of writing at this point. I just want it to be done. I just want it to be finished, you know. I want to not necessarily move on to the next thing right away. I've just been working on it so long and so hard. I've talked about this before. I'm a workaholic. I work myself to death, literally. And, you know, I want a little passion project to work on the side. Now, this isn't to say I don't love my book, because even though I say I'm in a hate cycle, I love my book. I love my books. I love them. I think my ideas are fun. I think they're unique. I think they'll be interesting. I think there's a place for them in the world. Yeah, I like my books. Still talking with my mouth full. This is so weird. Because it's like I'm alone. I can do whatever I want. I can eat however I want. I'm alone. But I'm not at the same time. I don't know. I also have no idea how I'm going to edit this, because, like, I may just leave this footage raw with all the spaces and blanks of me thinking. Just, you know, leave it very kind of, I don't know if this is necessarily vlog style or not. It just sounds like fun. Overthrow some music or something. I dig it. You know, I want to put out content I like too, so if you don't dig this, I'm sorry. But I do. Let's think, is there anything else I want to talk about? I can talk about Onyx and Ivory. I loved Onyx and Ivory by Mindy Arnett. I hope I'm saying your name right, Miss Arnett. Mrs. Arnett? Ms. Arnett? Author Arnett. I hope I'm saying your name correct. If I'm not, I'm really sorry. I loved your book. I loved Onyx and Ivory. I've got Shadow and Flame right here next to me. I can't wait to start reading it. It's got such cozy vibes. Onyx and Ivory has such cozy vibes. It was such a good book. If you haven't read it yet, go buy it. Go buy this book. It is amazing. The premise is really good. You follow Kate, lovingly dubbed Cater Trait after her father tried to assassinate the High King of Rim, something like that. And so, you know, her father's executed. Her mom leaves her. Great parenting. And she's left to her own devices. So she goes and she's a carrier or courier for the male people. And so she has to ride these horses through the world to deliver mail, or just across Rim to deliver mail, except there are these things called night drakes. They're like deadly flightless dragons, and they come out at night because the light kills them, basically. And so you've got to be careful about that. But then things are stirring in the world. And there are these things that eventually pop up, the day drakes. And they are so interesting. And her old love, Corwin, who's also a POV character, shows up, and he's the one, and this is back in the book so it's not spoiler, he's the one that basically seals the deal for executing her father. And so they were in love, and then he basically kills her father and shows zero mercy, and so then, you know, obviously when something like that happens, you have to break up. And so they're connected again. And so then, like, feelings and tensions start to rise, and Kate has to be careful because she's a wilder, which is an outlawed type of magic in Rim. And it's so good. There's always some tension. There's always something that you're like, ooh, the suspense, and it's so good. It was so fun. The ending was really cool. I liked it. I liked the magic of the world. I liked a lot of the world building details that we got to see, and it wasn't super exposition-y, in my opinion, you know, my first read through. Everything was so well done. I loved it. So good. Let me think if there are any other things I want to talk about while I'm eating with you guys. I talked about my new book idea. I talked about Down the Fox Path. It's in its second draft. I'm a little behind with my schedule, but that's okay because my schedule was based around then querying mid to the end of September, which I still don't know if I'm gonna do because Alexa Dunn put out a video talking about, like, if you should be querying right now. And it's like my story is a fairy tale retelling, a dark fairy tale retelling, and I'm like, well, I don't really know if that's gonna sell right now because, you know, the things that are really hot right now that agents are looking for are lots of like rom-coms or like lighthearted fantasy, and I'm like, my book is kind of lighthearted, but is it lighthearted enough that I should query it now or should I wait? And so, you know, with the, ooh, should I wait? That probably means that you should wait a little bit. And you know, that just gives me extra revision time, extra time to make things better. So who knows if I'm gonna be agented by Christmas. I don't know if I'm gonna meet my Hallmark movie of Agent by Christmas. Who knows? All in God's timing. God's got this. It'll all work out. And it'll be for the greater of my good. And it'll be good. And whatever happens will be what's meant to happen. So it'll be good. So I just have to trust blindly. Well, not blindly. I've got faith. I just gotta trust and have faith and find peace and assurance and just be chill while I'm working, because I put a lot of expectations and stress on myself that I honestly don't need to. You know, I stress myself out to the max and I push myself to the max and I just need to chill. I constantly feel like I have to prove myself to like some random person out there. Like, oh, like if I was normal, if I was healthy and I was able to work a day job, like no one would question me. But now that I'm home, it's like, are you actually working? Like, are you actually getting work done? Are you well enough to be working? Should you be working? Oh, you know, I have to prove myself to everyone. And I don't have to prove myself to anyone except myself. And even then, you know, I am who I am. I am fearfully and wonderfully made, and I will work to the will of God and do the best that I can. And that is good enough. Good enough. You are worthy. You are enough. You do not have to stress or freak out or worry that you aren't, because you are. You just are. Congratulations. You're worthy. You're wonderful. You're awesome. Unless you're like evil, but redemption's possible for everyone, I think. I think there's hope for everyone. I like to think that there's hope for everyone. So I'm almost done with my noodles. Do I just keep talking until I'm out? Is this a mukbang? That'd be so fun to have like Sunday chats like this. It's Sunday, by the way, in case you didn't know. But to have fun little chats like this, oh my gosh. I would love that. To like make some food, sit down and eat it with the camera, and just chat about me. Or chat about you guys. Like if you guys want to like tweet me questions or DM me questions on Instagram or in the comment section, like we can talk about things. Like that would be so much fun. I love that idea. This could be fun. Like a Sunday chat. Brunch with Xanna. That would be, I think I like that. Do you guys like that? Would you watch more of this? I'm trying to be very conscious about how I eat with my mouth open. Anywho, I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, like I just said, make sure you give it a like and hit subscribe and share it with your friends, and don't forget to ring that notification bell so you get updated every time I upload a video. I try to upload videos once to twice a week of fun bookish and writing related content. And if you want a little bit more Xanna throughout your week or a little bit more Maestro, you can follow me on all of my socials. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at XannasBooks. And I hope that you have had a wonderful time with me today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!